This video we're going to cover engine and frame serial numbers. The engine number is found on the crankcase right below the front cylinder. This particular one is CDH 165, which is number 65 off the production line, as the serial numbers start at 101. C means it's a chief model. DH is 48. The way that breaks down is C means it's a chief model. It also means it's the third letter in the alphabet, which will be stamped on the frame. DH is actually the year. D being the fourth letter in the alphabet, H being the eighth letter in the alphabet. So this is a chief model, 1948. So a matching frame number will be 348165. This is a pretty cool bike, just as a side note. It's number 65 off the production line. And actually I've got number 6 off the production line, bike, an original bike. And I've also got number 134 engine in here for a rebuild, all from 1948. So these ones were probably produced all on the same day. Pretty rare to have two, let alone three. So the frame serial number on sprung frame models, which would be 40 to 51. Sprung frame went to 53, but we'll cover the 52 and 53s in a moment. This is where you'll find the matching frame number, so it would be stamped right in here. It's not very clear on here because this one's been powder coated. There we are on another frame. It's a little bit easier to identify. This is 346866. So 3 being the third letter, well, 3 being a chief model, 46 is 46, and 863 being the serial number. (1952) and 53 models are going to be found on the front right footboard casting, the mount casting, and it'll be CS and then the digits after that. And the engine number will still be in the same spot. Later rigid frame models are going to be found down under the left side rear axle. There'll be a pad there. Now, earlier rigid frame models do not have a serial number, and these will just have casting numbers. Don't get confused with those. Those are just casting numbers and mean nothing as far as a serial number. And the engine number will be in the same spot as all the other models. Scout numbers are going to be found in the same location as a rigid frame chief. Engine number going to be on the crankcase, same spot as the chief models. This particular one is FDO, which means it's 1940. F is for 45-inch Scouts. It was G, it's a military 741 Scout. And the frame serial number is going to be found on the rear axle on this boss here. You can see down here, those are casting numbers. They're raised up. Serial numbers are on this plate here, and they're always embossed in. I've got a book that I wrote, the Kiwi Indian Riders instruction book, and that's got a lot of valuable information in there, and I actually give you a breakdown. Every model, what every F means 45-inch, G means 741 model, 30.5 cubic inch, so it's well worth getting that book. This particular bike's my 1950 sidecar rig, and in 1950 Indian was starting to play around with serial numbers. So 50, 51, I believe what it was, Indian was in financial shape come 1949. The things weren't too good. 49, they come out with a disaster model. So 1950, what they wanted to do is they didn't want to use their standard serial number. So they were playing around with changing the numbers, the designation, the first three. So like 1948 would be CDH. So it's my belief that what they were doing is trying to fake their production numbers so nobody could see how few bytes that they were producing. This particular one is C-2073. So 1950 actually, or the 51 actually, they started having different, midway through, they started playing around with different serial numbers. The location for 50 and 51 is still at the rear shock, but 52 and 53 is when they went to the front right footboard mount. This particular one's my 1946 sidecar rig. It was originally a Riverside, California police motorcycle from brand new. I got it from the original owner, and it's CDF 2469. CDF, C being the chief model, D being the fourth letter in the alphabet, F being the sixth, means it's a 46 chief. This bike here is my 1939 dispatch tow. Its serial number, engine serial number, will start with an F. It'll be CI for 1939. And the serial number on the frame on dispatch tows, I actually found on the front frame section, right there under the seat. The early 1940 models, some of them had a number stamped on the shock itself, on the body there, of the axle, and some also had it on the rear axle adjuster. So that's an abnormality, but the very, very early 1940s were there. This one's here of a military 741 Scout. We found on the same location and the motor, but it's going to be GDA, which actually they were all, no matter if they made in 1941 through 1944, they're all going to be 1941 models. GDA being 741, so that translates. And the serial number on the frame will be under here, will be 741. And the next set of numbers is going to be the serial number. You just gotta love that Indian horn face. This bike here is my 1945 Coast Guard bike. Serial number CDE 632. This will be 1945, the 532nd one off the production line. This particular engine's 1941 Sport Scout, 45 cubic inch, FDA 177. That would be number 77 off the production line, 1941. And that concludes today's class in engine and frame serial numbers. This video we're going to cover engine and frame serial numbers. The engine number is found on the crankcase, right below the front cylinder. This particular one is CDH